Hi, I'm Timmy.
And I'm Mary Jane. He's the newbie.
She's the doobie, and this is the show
where we
tote
cannabis.
Talk.
From both sides.
Is that even possible?
This podcast is for adults only, should not be used as a meal replacement, and may contain nuts.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Noobie and The Doobie. My name is Timmy, I am the newbie.
Mary Jane also goes by the name The Doobie.
Coming up on today's show,
we've got our high five.
We have a word of the week.
And I'm so excited. We have Elizabeth from HiBnB.
HiBnB. There's so much that we want to find out about HiBnB. We've as traveling, especially with touring as a comedian, we started using Airbnbs.
Yes.
As to kind of a trial after coming off of hotels and just kind of that transition. And there are some very
some nice places.
No, this is very nice places, but there were things that we found right away that
as a cannabis consumer,
with you as a cannabis consumer, that HiBnB is I think it's ingenious, and it definitely there is a need for it. Ingenious. So we're going to talk with Elizabeth about HiBnB in a little bit. Mary Jane, it is before we get to that, it is Banned Books Week.
Yes.
And we wanted to take a little bit of time just to talk briefly before we get into the show. We thought it was an interesting, for me, the first thing I thought of when we found out it was Banned Books Week, and by the way, love your outfit, and I know you've kind of connected it to Banned Books Week, so maybe bring that up here before I go into where I'm going.
With the librarian?
Yeah.
I went with the librarian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's... See?
The high school librarian.
People say, hey, I don't like to read. And it's like, well, maybe your librarian,
should have looked like me.
Maybe you should have had I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't say that. Anyways, the point is, growing up how I grew up in a very conservative religious church environment, cannabis to me was one of the forbidden fruits, a banned item.
Yep.
You it's like let's not only not talk about it, let's pretend it's simply not there. Like it's just go. Let's ban this. It's all banned. Now, what we find is when you ban people from stuff, especially when you're young, the things that are banned.
You can't hang out with that friend.
Yeah, that's the friend that you want to end up go hang out with, right? So when we found out it was Banned Books Week, there is that connection to the world of cannabis and how in some people's lives it is seen as this, don't go there, let's ban that. And I think there's a whole lot of conversation missing when you ban anything. I think, the concept isn't not to get rid of stuff, but it's about to have the discussion about those things, and hopefully mature people, evolving people, cultures, whatever it may be, can have those discussions that can then deal with those things. But I don't think necessarily hiding them, banning them, burning them, pretending they never existed is the answer. I think conversation is, and that's why we do this show.
You need to learn from your mistakes, not just erase them.
Right. That's actually a great way to say it. Did you know that Canada actually doesn't ban books? Did you know that? Good for Canada.
I didn't until you started researching, because I was like, well, what books have been banned in Canada? And you're like, I'm not finding them because Canada doesn't ban them.
No, there's a bunch of books out there that have been challenged, but we currently don't ban. And I stand by something like that. Like we said, I don't think banning is necessarily a good thing.
It's like that cancel culture, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to actually talk about that a little bit.
Oh, is that in your high five?
Maybe. Who knows? We're going to do a high five list here. We're going to do Word of the Week. We're going to bring Elizabeth Becker in from HiBnB. It's going to be a great show. Thank you so much for joining us, whether it be on YouTube or through whatever pod catcher is out there right now. But I'll tell you what, if you want to see the librarian and other outfits we've worn over the last 20 plus shows, YouTube really is the place to see us. So my high five list today is...
High five.
High five. 5 things that I would ban. I know you just said, but Timmy, you said you don't ban anything. Listen, there are certain things.
I'm curious to hear this.
I will be inconsistent on this. I think everybody's inconsistent in everything anyways. We like to pick and choose
like
things.
The word irregardless.
Yeah, right.
That's inconsistent.
Yeah. Inflammable, is that flammable or not flammable? Is it inflammable?
That means it's flammable.
No, it means it's flammable.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Okay.
It's like irregardless.
5 things that I would ban. Okay. Number 5, recreational Speedos. I'm not going to say ban Speedos completely.
Not sports Speedos.
No, listen.
Just recreational.
Australians invented the Speedos. Good idea gone bad. Okay, they invented them for Olympic swimmers, helping them go faster in the pool. It's the people, though, who end up buying and wearing Speedos that would never be confused for an Olympic athlete or a casual walker in most regards. That is why we need to ban them.
Those big beer-bellied men.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily banning the Speedo in general. It's banning maybe it's banning the lack of educating the person selling the Speedo. There should be just certain rules and guidelines. Like we were just at Wonderland.
Yes.
There was a guy. Listen, usually it's the older, larger, mostly hairy gentleman wandering the beaches, scarring our innocent children, right? Yes. It's usually that. This guy was a young guy, fit, wearing the Speedo, but in general, making everybody else around him very uncomfortable.
I need to just point this out. If you have not seen the movie Grown Ups, you need to go just look up Grown Ups Saskatchewan. Just Google this on YouTube. Grown Ups, Saskatchewan. And there's this guy, and he is legit. That's who was at Wonderland. Not like the actor, but like physique-wise. And he comes over, hey, ladies, from Saskatchewan, eh? And just...
His poor friends, one of his friends was standing beside him, covering his belly with his hands.
One of them was like arms over his chest. The other one was like hands over his stomach. The other one had his hands over his like lower
He's like,
region.
buddy, don't do that to your friends. So let's just ban the recreational Speedo. No, there's no need. Unless you're literally planning to go into that children's water park and do like laps and try to beat your best time.
I'm like, my eyes got big. No. If you're going to the children's water park, do not wear a Speedo.
Not at all.
Do not.
Is there just an adult
Those
water
poor
park?
children.
I don't even know. Yeah, exactly. So ban those. I don't think anybody's going to disagree. Ban the tooth fairy. Now, listen to me. What?
Oh, I would agree with that.
Okay. Here's the thing, but I don't know if it's the reason that you would say. I ban the tooth fairy because of this. The tooth fairy causes one major problem. Okay, we all know, look, I don't know where you're all at in life, okay? So I'm not here to confirm or deny things, but, well, maybe I should. Let's just say it. Look, we're all adults now. Look, we know the tooth fairy is not real. But here's what the tooth fairy does. The kid sits there, loses teeth, people bring them money. In my kid's case, they would get like, what do they call what were those animals? Webkins. A full webkin. That's what inflation did, by the way. So number one, tooth fairy
and those
is
weren't
like...
cheap.
No, tooth fairy is like went from $0.25 when I was a kid to like $25 stuffed animals. The inflation rate of the tooth fairy is killer. The second thing, though, it does is that it causes people to doubt the existence of Santa Claus. So you put this thing in, they trust this tooth fairy thing, they find out is real or fake, and then they start doubting Santa Claus. There is no place in our world to raise children up in a world that causes them to doubt Santa Claus. The tooth fairy is a main cause of that. Rid the world of the tooth fairy. Number 3 on my list of things that I believe should be banned, elongated exercise counts. Listen, I do a yoga course online. Mm-hmm. I cannot stand when she does this. It's like you're down there, you're holding your plank, and she's like, 3, 2, hang in there, you're doing great. And in my head, I'm like, you're supposed to be at 1 already. Do not start your countdown. Do not start your countdown if you're not ready to actually play out the countdown. Ready? We only got 3. She does this sometimes. We got 1 more of those to do. And then we'll go through a rotation. And she's like, now let's do 1 more, but with our breath. And I'm like, no, you said 1 already. Like, so my mind is prepared to only do 1. Elongated exercise counts. If you do that, you should be banned from the exercise mentoring community and like their union. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. The last time I tried to work out from some video from YouTube, I'm pretty sure she forgot. She did 3 on the left side and 2 on the right, and then she just moved on. And I was like, I don't think that's right.
Basic requirement.
It was left.
That's not right, but it was left.
Yeah.
basic requirement for teaching exercise, learn how to count and learn how to do rhythm.
Yes.
You got to do that. Do not
Be consistent.
Don't go 3, 2. Just count 3, 2, 1. Mentally, it's what we need. Number 2 on our list of things that should be banned, clowns. Get rid of them. The world doesn't need them at all. They are literally the scariest thing in the world. Nobody ever. I would never say, if somebody showed up in a clown outfit to my birthday party, I would never ever say, hey, great news, everybody, a clown is here. That would never come out of my mouth. Clowns are you watch movies, you read books. Clowns are absolutely terrifying.
They made a whole movie about a scary clown. It. Excuse me. And wasn't there like clowns going around scaring people a couple years ago?
Yeah, because clowns are terrifying. Clowns are,
this was before the pandemic.
I don't know how they've squeezed clowns through our children's system, but I think we banned clowns. Maybe they served a purpose at some point back in black and white television or something, but not anymore. Now that you can see them in full color, scary no matter what. You look at Ronald McDonald, everyone's like, oh, look how a fun little clown. No, he literally kept me from buying hamburgers for the longest time. And number 1 thing that I think should be banned in our world, don't ban books, don't ban music, but ban people that ban things. Ban cancel culture. I want cancel culture gone.
Ban banning.
Cancel culture is one of the worst things that has happened to our society. Every single one of us has done something in our past that we don't want brought up, even the people who are trying to cancel other people for things that they've done in the past. Let's not wipe out the past. Let's recognize the past. Let's accept change. Let's see if people are still the people today that they were 10 years ago. Don't look at a tweet that I sent 10 years ago and cancel me because of that. Check to see if what I'm doing now still lines up with that tweet, and then make a decision. But this whole cancel culture that is not based on what is currently happening, but on stuff that's been dug up from people's past. Don't cancel old books. Don't cancel old music. Don't cancel old tweets. Realize that people, as cultures do, we grow, we change, and we make mistakes along the way. But those mistakes are all important in helping us get to where we are. And if you cancel all those things and you erase them from history, then the next generation has nothing to look back on to learn from. So we need those mistakes. So you read a book and you're like, I don't agree with this book. Don't burn the book. Don't get rid of the book. Don't ban the book. Have a conversation with your children. Have a conversation with the people in your community and go, you know what? Let's talk about why this was wrong. But let's not try to pretend it didn't happen. Let's not try to pretend that people didn't think that way. Let's talk about it. And so I think this cancel culture should be banned, and people that want to ban things should be banned. And let's understand that we all are growing, and every single one of us has something in our past that we wouldn't want somebody to know about. Not because we necessarily are like that now, but because we just don't want that affect how people see us now, because we have changed, we have bettered ourselves.
I want to go one step further and maybe say that we might be ashamed that we would have even done or thought or said anything like that, because I feel like just like when you learn to walk, you fall. And you're going to fall, you're going to scrape your knee, and you're going to have scars. People are learning how to walk, and they're falling, and they have some nasty scars, but they don't need people to point it out. It's a scar. It's a past wound, and we have to deal with that deep down inside ourselves. That's why I say it's change. It's A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
HIJKLMNOP.
Always be changing to eventually finding growth.
I love that. Always be changing to eventually finding growth.
Yep.
So there you go. Ban cancel culture. I've said it right here on the show.
Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. All right, let's do your word of the week and bring in. And hey, let me just say this: Elizabeth Becker with HiBnB.
Yes.
When she comes in here, that is a example of changing and adapting. A culture from hotels moved into Airbnb, and then someone like Elizabeth comes along and go, wait a minute, there's still another way to
There's still something missing.
To branch off of that, to improve it, to, to fill in another gap.
Yeah.
And that transition happens in all things.
Yep.
And that's what we're going to talk about too.
And my word of the week would have been very handy that time you and I went to stay at that Airbnb that we had trouble with.
Okay.
Because my word is vaporizer.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so a vaporizer can be portable or stationary. It can be like a bigger desk model or a small portable one. Excuse me. It can be for
very portable.
Dried flower, extremely portable and small. It can be for dried flower or concentrates. This one here is just a little pod, a PAX pod. This is the PAX Era. That you literally just purchase this from the cannabis store local to you or the Ontario Cannabis Store, and you pop it in and you would just inhale. It has a lip sensor technology. Anyways, enough about that. So how it works, if you were to have a dried flower, it works a little differently. You would put the flower inside, but there's a heat element. And what that heat element does is it raises the temperature of the product that you put in there to a certain temperature without actually putting it past the point of combustion. So if you've ever heard the phrase, it's not smoke, it's vapor.
Right, yeah.
That's what people are referring to. It's not a smoke. So there's no actual carcinogens that are being burnt in the process. So they say it's supposed to be healthier. So you're getting less carcinogens, less smell. Mm-hmm. And because it's a vaporizer, chances are, unlike a joint, it's not burning, the smoke's not running up the joint and up your hand. It's not going to, you're not going to smell it as much. And the beautiful thing about a dry herb vaporizer is if you vape the cannabis until a dark green or a light brown color, you can then take that dried flower and set it aside. So I'm getting pasty mouth here.
Is that a side effect of consuming? I thought it was
of cannabis.
Dry mouth and
cotton
red
mouth.
eyes.
Cotton mouth. So if you take your already vaped material and set it aside, you can then use that to infuse your butter. I just tried to infuse butter and edibles together. Buttables.
not something that would.
No,
I wouldn't buy.
Although
that.
It sounds funny.
No,
Buttables.
Funny.
Okay, so you would take that flour and infuse your cannabis butter into cannabis butter. I'm getting lost in my words right now. Mm-hmm. However, what you're doing when you're vaporizing the product in your vaporizer is you're actually decarboxylating it, which is an important step. I think we might have talked about decarboxylation.
Yeah.
So it's extremely important when you're making edibles to take the time to decarboxylate. And you can do that by already vaping your material. So then you get twice as much usage out of the same flower.
So once again,
you can vape it
you're maximizing.
And eat it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The
vaporizer. And less smell helps when you're in.
And last thing before we bring in Elizabeth here, so you can you legally use a vaporizer in a non-smoking building?
If it's a non-smoking building, it's a non-smoking building.
So even though it's vapor, not smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll get into that. Maybe Elizabeth can talk to us about that.
I will say that the volcano was one of the only devices that the government actually said, yes, that is a medicinal cannabis device, and they actually allowed it to be a write-off on certain people's taxes.
Okay.
So they did see it as an extreme medicinal thing.
Okay. So there's some work to be done there.
All right. Are we ready? Can we bring in Elizabeth?
Let's bring Elizabeth Becker from HiBnB.
All right. Okay.
You want to introduce her?
Yeah. Let's bring in Elizabeth.
And there she is, Elizabeth Becker with HiBnB all around you. Good to see you.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Do you like saying hi at the beginning when people say HiBnB? Is that kind of like a branding thing now?
You know what? We're kind of using the word high to as an adjective for a HiBnB adventure. So like you're become a high host or take a high adventure or a high accommodation. So it's we're working it into the language a little bit.
Soon you're going to be able to copyright high. Everybody's going to be so mad.
Well, I actually tried to. So, I mean, it may not work if we can't go forward, but Hostels International uses the word high in front of names of cities. Like Hi Toronto is Hostels International Toronto.
Oh.
So we're using it in a slightly different way, but
Right.
we couldn't copyright it. We may have to stop.
I wonder if it's a spelling thing. Could you add the GH? And if it would change it.
Could, but our HiBnB is HiBnB. Then
Right.
we have to change it to HIGH. People will be confused, right?
That's all branding. I
That's
understand. True. So, Elizabeth, talk to us about HiBnB. Like we have traveled. We talked about at the beginning of the show. I tour professionally as a comedian for over a decade. Hotels were the thing to do for the longest time. Airbnb became this weird and wonderful world to try. And then when I went into the Airbnb world with MJ as a non-consumer, I never thought it would be an issue. But very quickly we realized that there were some places that caused issues, or maybe they didn't cause it. We just weren't aware of all the situations around it. And then HiBnB comes in, and right away we recognized it as filling a great need in the world. So talk to us about how it got going, why you started it, and where you think it's going.
Well, that's great. Thanks so much. I'm glad you get it. Some people don't get it. You know, we're finding that some people are like, well, why did they just can't really understand the need so much. People can walk outside, or maybe they can vape, but I did it to celebrate the community, actually. Cannabis culture and cannabis community. I don't think that we need to be traveling and just like brushing it under the carpet. We don't need to do that anymore, right? And it's okay. I'm a cannabis user, and I want to be open about that, and I want to know that the person's cool about it where I travel to. So I just wanted to get behind that a little bit. I love cannabis culture. The best times in my life is when I get high with people, because they accept me for who I am, right? And for me, that's the intimacy. That's the feeling of closeness. And I love the plant. The plant does, brings me lots of little wonders and things like that. So I've just kind of got carried away in like honoring the plant and wanting to give it away to people and encouraging people to give it away a little bit, or at least encouraging people to connect socially and support, the lifestyle without having to be hiding it in any way, because it's legal, right? So that's how I feel.
Yeah, I have lost security deposits from hotels because they thought I consumed in the hotel room, even though I just rolled a joint in there. We had an issue with an Airbnb because I rolled a joint inside and left my weed box inside the house, and they're non-consumers. And he called me freaking out. I can smell it from the 3rd floor. Okay, but I didn't smoke it. I didn't do anything wrong. Like you said, it's legal. Now, all of a sudden, I'm stuck at this person's house because I can't get a refund because I'm uncomfortable now.
And you never know when you're going to come in touch with somebody who is like highly, like can't tolerate it in any way. Mm-hmm. You don't know when those people are going to come across them.
Like Joey.
Yeah,
imagine if that was Joey's house.
Yeah, a comic that I brought up here for a tour, we found out very quickly that he was highly allergic to it. And MJ went to extreme circumstances, whatever it may be, to make sure that she was washed up and cleaned every time before interactions with him. But that's the thing with something like hotels and Airbnbs. So it's nice to have places that really have it. And it's surprising to me that there are people that don't understand the need for that or for the concept behind it, because it seemed pretty obvious to me.
Well, and it goes a step further. It's not just accommodations. Like you were saying, high adventures.
Right.
That itself, like cannabis consumers, we like stoner comedy, for example. But we also just like comedy, but we want to smoke a joint before. We like yoga. We like paint classes. We like walks in the park. We just want things to do with a safe space to consume and not to have people look at us like we're bad people.
Right.
So what was it that was the actual spurring on moment? Like have you been consuming for like your life?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Since I was a teenager,
and
I was always attracted to it for some reason.
Recreationally, I'm guessing. At that age.
Recreationally. Yeah. Recreationally. At that age, I liked it because it made me feel slightly out of control. And I actually felt more comfortable feeling slightly out of control and needing to control myself all the time. Like there was some freedom in the way that I felt that I could just let go of that, So I've always liked that. I moved from Ontario to British Columbia when I was about 20 years old, and couldn't believe the difference in attitude there. There was not a negative stigma on it. Like the police just looked away, really. Everybody could acknowledge the positive benefits of it. And I could feel like there was every year, everybody, the people would get together towards legalization of cannabis. And I knew it was coming. I could just feel it,
So did you have a moment though, a bad experience in say the accommodation world, if we just look at HiBnB, that made you go, you know what, I got to be the agent of change here?
No, I didn't have an experience like that.
You just said, hey, I gotta do something.
Yeah, it mostly happened when Canada legalized, and I was so excited about it, legalization, and I think everybody was. I wanted to, I come from the film industry. Nice. So I wanted to see the commercialization of cannabis. That got me really excited. I want to watch C+ TV commercials where it's on cannabis.
Right.
I don't know. It's visual. I just got excited about the commercialization of what does it mean it's going to be legal? And it didn't really happen like that. Like you could only buy the products that have certain words on them and the big disclaimers, and they all look exactly the same. And you can legally buy it, but you can't legally do anything else. And there's still stigma that pertains to them. And I thought, this isn't what legal looks like. Right. I was so upset. A lot of people were disappointed, right? And there were even not that many places where you could buy it. And I just feel like something welled over me. And I said, well, God, I'm going to do this before the Americans come and do it for us. Because I lived in LA for 5 years, right? And they've got such a great attitude towards making money and entrepreneurship, and they buy our wood and then sell it back to us. They buy our water and then sell it back to us.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, the Canadians, we just get totally overtaken by the Americans. And I'm so proud to be Canadian and loving cannabis and so excited for what we could do. And that was really, my disappointment. And then I just got so frustrated thinking, well, I'm not going to sit around and wait and watch and then tell you I told you so. And I just jumped in. I started looking at a business plan. I started trying to raise funds, and I came into a lot of people who said, I love that. How can I help?
Yep.
And so that, to me, those were the signs. Okay, let's keep going. And it's gotten bigger and harder. And I'm still, working it and modeling it. And that was sort of my plan, is like, okay, well, step in, try to get into the industry. And I didn't know anybody in the industry at all. I'm not sure how I was going to get in. And then just adapt to how the industry needed us to, because it was so early, nobody knew how it was going to develop. We're still in really early years.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're a trailblazer. I guess you had at least you had a similar model out there, like an Airbnb. Obviously, it created a sense of, because when that came out, people were like, whoa, what is this thing? So you could see that somebody tested it. The model works. Yeah. But certainly hard to be the trailblazer on any sort of tangent. Was the high adventure and the high fill in the blank, was that always part of the vision? Like all the pieces of high something?
No, that just evolved, really. So it started out as accommodations, and it started out just modeling it after Airbnb. So just taking Airbnb exactly and making it for the cannabis community. So that would be accommodations and what their experiences were, but I didn't feel comfortable calling it experiences, because for me, if you introduce cannabis, then all of a sudden it's an adventure. Whatever you're doing is an adventure, right? So, because it's just more fun. And so I focused on accommodations and adventures. And then I understood that there was an advertising side, an opportunity for advertisers who couldn't connect with the market because of all the legislation. And as I was explaining before, I have a passion for commercialization, kind of, and so I saw that there are three different arms, right? The accommodations, adventures, and advertising. And it was only as we were developing the website that trying to figure out, with the copywriter, what words should we go, how should we say it? And I think a marketing company maybe came back with a stay high term. And so we just realized that it could be adapted to play high. Mm-hmm. And then for advertising, I assigned get high to it. So when you go to the site, you can do three things. You can play high, stay high, or get high. And I think that's the strength of the business, really. It's so simple. You get to the website and it's very clear what you can do. Although get high is like looking at advertising and connecting with cannabis businesses, adjacent businesses, and producers and retailers.
Sounds like you've nailed the branding part.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I like the smiley face.
Yeah, no.
Because who's not happy when they're high?
When they're high. Yeah. Except me, when my bowling score dropped.
No, I meant this high.
Oh, that high.
Like when they're, on a high adventure or, a HiBnB.
So, Elizabeth, some people would perceive the cannabis community, or even the cannabis-friendly community, as being a very, very small community. And are you surprised at how many accommodations were able to connect with you? Was there more than you thought? Did you think it was going to be harder to find those places?
Oh, it's definitely harder to find those places. Okay. We haven't connected with near enough. So we've got our work cut out for us, not just going forward to the cannabis community to say, hey, who wants to support the community so the CannaFam can stay here? We have a lot of people who are sort of cannabis enthusiasts, and we're getting some listings from them, but really when most people travel, they want to go to high-end places. It doesn't necessarily want like a room in somebody's house or right. Somebody who's has a grow operation in their house, although those things that's a great way to travel too. But we need to connect with what's called the professional host. So it's just taking a lot of time. It's all in the pipelines. We've been working with a consultant in Europe where Airbnb is huge, and there's a lot of companies who have kind of come together to go against the Airbnb monopoly. And so they've created a system with the back end of the site that brings on the electronic host. Like when you're an owner, you connect to a property manager, and property managers connect to these channel managers. And so we have to build integrations to the various channel managers, and there's hundreds of them, to connect with the software systems where the owners are connected. And so then they can just click a box and come over to our site as well. Then we assign certain values on them. We ask them all, well, where is smoking permitted? What are your attitudes towards smoking? Do you have a dispensary that you can recommend near you? Can you connect people who are coming to the cannabis community? And so those are some of the variables and factors that we assign and discuss with the hosts.
Which I'm curious, because I think it's just stupid. Let's just say it's just stupid for a hotel to not contact HiBnB. All you need to do is provide somebody with an outdoor space where they're able to consume cannabis. Most cannabis consumers are responsible. We're not throwing our butts on the ground. We're not leaving bottles lying around. Put out ashtrays, advertise it as a cannabis-friendly hotel, no smoking inside, and I guarantee you would sell out every weekend.
That's amazing. I have to say that there is still a lot of stigma, and we talk to property managers, and some of them have a knee-jerk reaction. It's like, I don't want a cannabis user in my place.
You do. You've already had them. I guarantee it.
I know.
Okay.
Do you have something to say there, Noobie?
No, I was just thinking that's actually a really good point. Is people would be surprised. I was surprised as a newbie at how many people were consuming cannabis that you never knew were consuming cannabis. Like, I often talk about the pop culture like image, right? With the person who is lying on their couch, half dressed, just playing video games with a slab of pizza beside them. That's the cannabis user. And then, as I've grown up and matured and met more people, and as I've been in MJ's world over the last few years, you see the doctors, the lawyers, the entrepreneurs, the very successful businessmen and women, and you get, and then we had Mimi Cannabis on, who was talking about the 55-year-olds and over who now are finally like embracing this thing they had to hide for years because of stigmas in their communities. And you realize that a lot of us have been dealing with cannabis smokers for our entire life. And people are just like, oh, I don't want to talk to cannabis smokers. It's like they literally are living next door to you. You just don't know. And they're nice people.
Right. Why is there a line between us and them? That's the stigma,
Yeah.
right? If there's some kind of stereotype or immediate association, negative association.
Do you have any way I don't even know if you would have a way to know this unless you had personal conversations, but are there people hosting on HiBnB that don't consume but are like, but I'm cannabis friendly. I'm okay with this.
Yeah, there's lots of people interested in that.
Okay.
I've heard back from a host saying, look, I allow smoking people in. Why wouldn't I allow cannabis users in? I don't use it myself, but we shouldn't discriminate them.
Which is funny because they don't ask you when you book a room at a hotel if you smoke cigarettes. They just say there's no smoking in the room.
Oh,
so
cool.
Why would they not be
Right.
willing to advertise on another venue? That's crazy.
So what is your goals going forward here? Like, we've been wanting to talk to you for a little while. We've been wanting to just kind of connect with you in general. We think your idea is amazing. We think what you're doing is very cool. This is the first time I'm hearing about, I figure there are struggles in every business, but being able to hear some of your struggles now. What needs to be done? What can be done? What are your next steps? Like, how do you break through the walls that are currently there?
Well, I think we need to have a bigger awareness. It's hard to market. We don't have a lot of marketing dollars. So if everybody could tell their friends that we exist, that would be really helpful because there's just a lack of awareness. We already have some great adventures listed there. The ones where the hosts have like their in-house email list and where they're promoting on their own, sending the link, these are all selling out. But we're not able to reach to such a big group of people. So we need help to promote really and let other people know that we exist. That's where we're at right now. We've got an activation happening on one of our adventures, Art in the Park, and we're partnering with Shelter Cannabis and Spirit Leaf, Little Italy. So that's sort of, not in terms of my vision for the business, it's not just offering accommodation, but it was really bringing together the industry. And so I'm excited to be able to have this opportunity where we can, and our hosts are excited to have this opportunity where we can promote legal products, support the producer, benefit also because the dispensary is offering discounted cannabis, specifically associated with this promotion to the host and to the guests of the event. And that's, for me, that's it. And I can't wait until it goes down and hope that other people can see it so that we can start exercising it a little bit more. And I'm looking for people to help. I'm looking for people to work. I just wish I was making enough money that I could pay the staff that I need to start building it, because these are the growth pains. Like, we're across Canada right now, which is great, but our US site is next week going to be open and available.
Oh, wow.
We've raised about $500,000 and gone through it all. At this point, we were about to launch on both sides of the border, and our seed capital hasn't come through yet. So I'm spending all my time raising to continue, paying for what's called our burn rate and how long our runway is. So working really hard, networking and putting together all these plans moving into the States. So it's huge. There's a lot going on, but really what we need is like the focus in a few little centers to get it going within a community, because we're just not saturated enough at this point, but it's coming.
Wow. This might be a weird question. You may not even have an answer for this, but what lessons did you learn down in LA, which is a really interesting world in itself, especially in the film and television world, that you were able to translate and bring into starting this business?
I guess to be fearless. I learned that down there. Nobody's going to make fun of you. It's good on you to try it. All you can do is fail. That's what I learned in LA.
Yeah.
But to gain energy in that, right? Like, so just to jump in, and from that fuels me, that feeling of developing something on the fly. I guess when you make a movie, it's interesting. You first you write the script, and then you budget it, schedule it, get all of the different practitioners. And while you're shooting it, it all comes together. And I seem to remember, like, you line up all these pieces, but at the very end, they suck together like a magnet. So it's kind of like a creative process for me. So I've created HiBnB. I'm seeing how the industry is moving and changing, seeing what's possible, and lining up all of the blocks as it gets closer and tighter. So it's a creative process for me.
What do you see? What do you see ultimately? Like, are you a goal setter long term with this? Like, do you see yourself being, head to head with an Airbnb? Does that even matter to you?
Yeah, well, I have to know where I'm going, and have the entire vision in place. Our advantage right now is before federal legalization in the United States, which I estimate is going to be around 4 years at least. It's not going to happen with Biden. And so, that's the time that we have to build our network and build the data. And at the time that it legalizes, we would be pushed out of the market by Airbnb possibly. But it's, what we're looking at as our exit strategy is as an acquisition to a pre-existing short-term rental site that wants to expand to include cannabis, that is easier for them to purchase, us than to build it all out on their own.
Yep.
So that's kind of where we're going. That's why I want to be in the States, that I have sort of the bigger vision to grow it and scale it on a pretty big, large platform.
That's awesome. Well, I can tell you, like, we spend a lot of time talking, not only here on the show, but in real life, about the importance to find people who really love what they do. And I can tell you that, unless you learned a lot of great acting skills in LA, it seems to me that you are passionate about this, you love it, you're driven by it, and that's always encouraging to me. I've told my kids, just find something that you love, and it's going to be difficult, and it's going to cause maybe fear, and you're going to have to overcome a lot. But if you're not pursuing something that you love and are passionate about, it could be a giant waste of your life. And so it's encouraging to me to just see somebody like yourself who is I believe, meeting a need, but has that drive and passion and love behind it.
I feel very lucky that the first half of my life, more than the first half of my life, it was hard. I felt that I wanted to have a voice. That's why I went into film, is that I wanted to say something. I wanted to resonate with an audience. I wanted to affect people's lives in a positive way in some way. And I never was able to find what I was looking for in film, because I was working in kids TV, writing burping and farting jokes, right? Like, the reason why I went into when I went into film was for a bigger area. So I wasn't happy for a long time and looking for some way to transition out and not sure where to or how. And before that, I had a small career in TV, like in magazine style TV on YTV. So I feel like when I found HiBnB, it's like all of the pieces in my life sort of lined up, and this is what I was here for, right? I have my ability to connect with people on it, and affect them in a positive way and resonate in a big term. And I'm able to talk to people, meet you, talk to the media. I had that in my background too. So I just feel like all these things lined up. This is my purpose. And absolutely, I'm passionate about it. I love it. That's all I have to rely on, right? If I start doing it because I'm trying to meet some expectation from society or what I think people are looking for from me, then I shouldn't be in it. I'll take it as long as I can, as long as it's fun.
Right.
And see, I would like to see HiBnB be a combination of Airbnb, hotels.com, like every other event. Eventbrite, places where you just go to like, I want to do something tonight. What is there? And I can just go there and know, hey man, I can bring my weed. I don't have to worry. Yeah, that's whether it's a hotel or
things.
What's that?
Absolutely. Well, there's more interesting things. Like if you're looking for something to do on HiBnB, there might be like an elevated belly dance class.
Yes.
Now, I would never consider to look for a belly dance class on booking.com or Get Your Guide because I'm not a belly dancer. But all of a sudden, if you add cannabis to it, then I know that this is about having fun.
Yep.
I've never tried it. It's okay if I'm an idiot. Mm-hmm. And it's a different kind of activity.
Well, that's funny you say the activities vary because the one that I seen that like piqued my interest was a poker game, and cannabis was included, which some of them are, some of them aren't. This was this host decision, and I was like, ooh, poker with a bunch of like people. That would be cool.
Well, I think what you just said there is key. Is that you wouldn't necessarily even look for a belly dancing class. Like I mean, I'm pretty expert at it, but that's in my past. Don't worry about that. But the thing is that cannabis becomes this really interesting door that cannabis users are looking for first, a place that they can consume. And so by entering into that door, like you said, now you start putting belly dance classes and all this other activity, they're going to find all that stuff. Whereas if you're not going through that door, you might never like it's a tremendous opportunity because people first aren't looking for a specific entertainment thing. They're looking for something to meet the smoking cannabis need. And from there, you could open people's eyes to so many interesting opportunities that they would never think of off the top of their head.
That's what I love about it. That's, that I feel really lucky that I'm able to offer this gift to other people.
Well, I'm going to start.
I like to think that
I'm not going to start consuming again, but what I might do is go, hey, I'm looking for something interesting to do. And because I am able to be with people.
Well, because you're dating a consumer
and I'm dating one. But say I just wanted a night out with myself. Every once in a while, you need that. You understand, Elizabeth. But say and even on nights that if I was going to take her out or if I was just looking for something. Okay, let me speak about somebody who's a non-consumer, not me, so I don't get in any trouble here. A non-consumer who is okay with other people consuming. This becomes a great portal to just go, let me find some interesting events all through one door. So even if you're not a consumer, but you're at least okay with the person beside you smoking, what a tremendous, you have so much potential in this. I'm very, very excited about it. So I hope this thing blows up in a good way.
Thank you. Thank you. No, that was a really great point that you made.
Thank you. It's what I do.
Yeah. You're smart. You're really smart.
Okay, enough, Elizabeth. I got to ride home with him. We don't need his head so big he won't fit in the car. Jeez.
That's true. We needed to get a bigger car recently. Where can everybody find you? I know obviously HiBnB is marketed so incredibly well, but how can people find you? Let's do our best to make sure we can drive people your way.
Thank you. It's HiBnB, HiBnB.ca.
Okay.
But when we're in the States, it'll be .us.
Oh, not .com.
It's kind of also .life. Yeah, HiBnB.life. We can't get HiBnB.com, unfortunately.
Boo.
So that's a little bump.
Somebody else bought
They
that.
won't respond to us. Somebody else bought it, and they're not responding.
Oh, they got some leverage now.
It's been years they haven't been responding. It's a little place in Taiwan. It's a B&B that's HiBnB.
Well,
maybe I'll go out and talk to them.
Granted, I actually like that name too. Hi.
That's funny. You should get them to advertise on your site. Just be like, give me the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I like that.
Yeah.
Right. Of course.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth, for joining us today. And we, like I said, we stand behind HiBnB, and hopefully we'll get a chance to run into you in person. Maybe. That's
we're
part
definitely
of the
going to some events for sure.
Oh,
we're going to be on there.
Yeah. Well, next week there's an Art in the Park event, and I should tell everybody that on socials we are at Experience HiBnB.
Right.
I hope everybody will come visit us, and tell your friends, please.
Well, we definitely will.
Yes.
The Noobie and The Doobie support HiBnB.
We do.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
So why are you the newbie? Like, what about you is new? What about you is new?
Well, lots have changed. Like, when I used to be human, there were certain things I couldn't do that now I can do due to new additions. So that's a big part of it. But I'm a newbie because I don't consume. Is that where you were going with the question?
I see. Oh, yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So she got me to try cannabis 3 times. So I'm not a virgin of cannabis, but those 3 times were more than enough. And so now I'm just in a position where I want to learn, but I don't have much experience, nor do I know much about it. So that's why I'm the newbie.
Cool. That's a great perspective. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on your show. It's been fun. Nice to get to know you, and I'd love to do it in person sometime.
Absolutely. We will definitely arrange that.
Yes. Thanks for coming, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Have an awesome day. Well, that was Elizabeth Becker.
Isn't she awesome?
She's so high-spirited.
High-spirited.
Hi, B&B. That was so funny. A little B&B in Taiwan, she said.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cute.
She's got all this brand. That's the crazy thing about branding, right? You know, in the small world in which we now live.
Yes.
Right? You brand something, and then you find out that a little tiny shop in Taiwan has the element.
Well, see, we did a little better with the Noobie and Doobie because you made me check everything everywhere first. Although I just want to say, .us is not a bad website.
No.
That's great.
Well, no, I mean
because it's in the U.S.
Now people have the different dots all the time, but it is.
Well, CA is Canada.
Yes, it is.
Why would the States be .com? It should be .c or .us.
Not because they started it.
Yeah, there's a hand
whoever
symbol that goes with that.
Whoever started it gets it.
But
well, the branding is really good. I love the name. I love the way that I love the logo.
Did you notice the colors? It's teal and orange.
Yes, I did notice that.
Yeah,
yes.
I figured. Yeah, it's catchy.
No, everything about it, and like we just said on the show, when we weren't just saying that because it was the show and she was our guest, but right away when it came out, based on our own personal experiences, I was like, oh, that's a no-brainer. Good for her for coming up with that idea.
You know what? I had the same idea. I won't lie, Elizabeth, I love you. I had the idea too, but I don't have the drive, nor the money, nor the resources, or the time, or the dedication, or the anything that you had to make that my baby. And I am so freaking happy that you did, because we need it. We do.
No, it's great, and I do see it as a, like she was saying, like if I was looking for a night out, you got to Google all these events. You say like you got to think belly dancing and type belly dancing in and find out all the places that are belly dancing.
Well, like she said, generally you wouldn't. You'd check bowling, you'd check the movies.
That's exactly it.
You might check mini putt
but if
or
you type
golf.
But you can't type in unlike typing in cannabis events. Mm-hmm. Where you could find all these cool events under, like, say, this thing.
Yeah.
Nobody goes non-cannabis events to find all the events that aren't cannabis, right? So just having it with a cannabis base and having that portal to these adventures and to these experiences and stuff like that is there's so much potential, and I'm very excited for it.
I really feel like the true potential comes from outside the cannabis industry. If people outside the industry, non-cannabis users, could just wrap their heads around the fact that if they were to be a little bit more progressive and just give it a trial period, give it like a couple guests or a couple events or whatever. Say you have a comedy show.
I have a comedy show.
And there's a sidewalk out front where people can consume their joints prior to your show. Put your show on HiBnB. Advertise to a whole crowd of people that you generally didn't probably even think would come.
Yep.
And like you said, we'll go online because we just want a place that we know we can smoke weed, and we'll be like, oh, hey, there's a comedy show. We can smoke weed at. Yep. Let's go.
Yep. And a lot of that is going to be held back by the unwillingness to
the stigma behind
to fight through that stigma that's there, right?
That's what we're trying to do.
Right now, weed is on the banned list. We are trying to do that, and that's what our show is about. It's funny because I think that was a legitimate question she had. I just assumed everybody would know that I'm the newbie because I don't smoke cannabis, but that's why I'm the newbie, everybody.
He's new to the cannabis industry.
New to the cannabis world.
And the whole world.
The whole cannabis culture. New to it.
I wish you would have been around while the strain hunters were like a thing, like on television, but we lost Franco. Franco's no longer with us.
Franco.
So
I don't know who Franco is, but I feel the loss.
Rest in paradise.
Rest in paradise, Franco. That is it.
That's it. That's the end of another awesome episode.
Don't ban the past, folks, and let's embrace the cannabis community and realize that they're not the devils they're made out to be. They're just looking for a place to, in a lot of cases, like in your case, a way to medicate while enjoying life.
We're just looking to stay high, play high, and get high. I'm Timmy Boyle. Mary Jane Baker. Stay lifted. And keep on laughing. Oh, I'm out of water.